They can do it. It will be reposted at a later date once the board figures out.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
And I'm Whitney Ward. So that school board meeting in Coeur d'Alene was canceled today after protesters that you just saw swarmed the meeting building. The board chair had called that emergency meeting, and a vote on a mask policy was on the agenda.
Our Morgan Trow has been on the ground there for hours now. She was actually told to leave for her own safety. Morgan, what is it like over there right now?
Tom, Whitney, this was by far the most contentious protest that I have seen in my coverage of anti-mask rallies. You're right, the Coeur d'Alene School Board was supposed to discuss the implementation of a mask mandate due to their hundreds of known positive cases at all of their schools. But that didn't happen, and it is because of an angry crowd of screaming protesters. Hundreds of people started to gather outside the board meeting building. As the time got closer, the protesters got louder and more aggressive. The board members and police decided it was in the best interest to postpone the meeting due to safety concerns. The protesters didn't like that and ended up rallying outside of the district office, which then needed to be locked down.
We're not here to cause problems. We're not here to fight. We're here to be listened to and for our children to go to school freely without masks.
I'm tired of the mask. Go yourself.
I don't know how you sleep at night. You know what you guys are doing to people. You're exploiting their fear.
Many protesters say the school board members should be fired from their positions for refusing to hold the meeting. They say it is their body, their choice, and they should decide what happens to their kids. Kootenai Health was supposed to have a few physicians speak at the meeting. Their spokesperson says we hit 2 new milestones this week. The highest COVID inpatient at 115 and highest COVID ICU at 43. Kootenai Health typically only has 26 ICU beds. They have been repeatedly saying that they are seeing younger and younger patients needing intensive care. And the Coeur d'Alene schools told me that they all were escorted out by police early before the protest started, but there was a police presence here. They say they're not sure when the meeting will be, but they should be getting back to me tonight with that update. Live in Coeur d'Alene, Morgan Trout, KREM 2 News.
Morgan, before you go, I know that you have covered multiple meetings from multiple school districts as they have continued to have these protests. When you were there today, when did it become apparent that this really was getting out of hand?
Honestly, from the first minute that people started arriving at the building, we were inside the meeting building and people were lining up and banging on the doors. The police had to go and tell people to be respectful, but the panic in the school board members' eyes, that really is what changed everything for me. And I saw that they just needed to be safe. They got out a different exit. We stayed back to record, but people were not happy. Then moving to the next location is really when it got bad for journalists personally, which is always, you never want to fear for your safety, especially when you're working. But this just was insane. People were screaming in your faces, following other journalists, following myself to my car, yelling at us, recording us, telling us that we are responsible for the pandemic and that we are just fear-mongering. It is really difficult when a journalist has to become part of the story, but unfortunately, that's what happened today.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. Sorry that you had to experience that today.